one of the things that I always felt a lot of pressure to do, right? It's this idea of achievement, but also among my peers, it was this idea that we were all sort of in this rat race and we were always comparing ourselves to each other. And, oh, this friend or that friend is doing this many extracurriculars or taking that many classes, and they're maybe achieving so much. And that really affected my well-being negatively at the time. And so I want to hear a little bit about how both the tools and the things that we have within this book, but then also your experience as a professor on campus, can help to kind of like navigate and mitigate some of that.
And I think that's actually been worse. That's really gotten worse over the past decade or maybe the past 5 years, maybe since pandemic. Like that there's just a sense of tension. And the truth is that's not healthy. We know mental health has suffered because of it on campus. We know students are stressed and they're dealing with depression, et cetera. So yeah, no, it's a huge issue. And it also kind of touches on something that we've tried to do with the book for a long time. There are lots of books out there that help you get into college or help you maybe even talk about life in college. It's great. There's many good books out there. What the Freshman Survival Guide has always done since the beginning is we've considered it a holistic guide. It's meaning the mind, body, and the spirit. It's not a religious book, but we take all of those aspects of the human being seriously. Because college is a time for asking questions, all types of questions, from little questions such as what should I be studying this semester? Who should I room with? To big questions of what do I want my life to be about? What do I want my life to mean? What are my values? Those questions are as much spiritual as they are intellectual or psychological or emotional. It's simply about addressing the questions that any human being, I think, asks. And whether it's, I don't believe in anything and I'm an atheist, that's fine, but it's at least going on that journey of asking questions and challenging yourself and critically thinking about your life, what you want your life to be, what you hope your life and goals are, what you want for your community. It's really asking those big questions. And those are, again, holistic questions about the mind, the body, and the spirit. Whether the chapter is on dealing with time management, or whether it's dealing with roommates, or whether it's dealing with drugs and alcohol or relationships or whatever. Every chapter has the voices of students who have been through the issues before, and professionals on campus, counselors, et cetera, professors, as well as residents, life people. But we also include the voices of campus ministers from every faith tradition you can imagine from schools all around the country. And what was the most fascinating of all is how these different faith leaders, when we would get them together to talk, how they really never disagreed about theology or religion or anything of the sort, but how much they actually harmonized, how much they cared for students, and how much they were interested in engaging with the students in the spiritual questions they had.
It's one of the things I love about the Freshman Survival Guide, Bill, because my class on consuming happiness is cross-listed with religious studies for that very reason. Because you can't ask questions and talk about the good life, about happiness and meaning in this country without looking at so many of the organized religion and the spiritual underpinnings of our assumptions of what is good, what is right, what brings us joy and happiness. So really, you can look at it from an academic perspective, but we are all socialized to really also feel it as in a spiritual way of some sort. And to not have that question on the table means that a part of us is not getting fed. And so to really kind of, even though it makes people quite uncomfortable, and I totally know it in my classes, people get all squirmy when I start talking about religion and faith. And I get it. It's, that and money are the things that you're not really supposed to talk about in polite company, but I talk about them both in almost every lecture. And I think it's important because we need to demystify this so that college can be the time to ask and answer these really big, important questions.
The Freshman Survival Guide really tries to talk about, in a world in which you're uniquely trying to become yourself and discover authentically maybe who you are and what you're good at and what you really, not only what you're good at, what really truly brings you joy and sustenance and fulfillment. That's a journey that's more than simply done in a classroom. It's done on many levels in college, and we hope students can hopefully take advantage of some of that in all these ways. And so I think the spiritual aspect in that sense, and the mind, body, and spirit is important, just to be sort of looking at what do I want my life to be?